Hello and welcome to Monkey's Paperpalooza Craft Corner. Today we are going to start into part one of our two-part series on the My Monthly Hero November 2018 kit. This kit is a little different than what we traditionally see by Hero Arts, but it is a very nice kit altogether. Now you may see that this kit looks a little different. First thing, you get a tiny little packet here, and in this packet you're going to get 2 embossing powders. You're going to get a green gold embossing powder and then a bottle of the gold embossing powder. Isn't that nice? Now, in our stamp kit, that's your only little add-ons you really have in this kit. In the little stamp kit here, it's a little different too. Instead of a huge polymer stamp set, you're only getting a smaller one, but you are getting a background stamp with this, as well as a huge frame die. So it is still a very great value, even though you're getting less pieces. So let me show you this first. Now this background die is very unique. I'm sure you guys seen the videos from other people. It has removable little parts that you can take out and use together or separate so that you can mix your colors, whether you be embossing or inking, or use them separate to make some added little extras. So that's a fun little thing that they did. And you can pop them back in, pop them back out, whatever you need to do, which is really fun. That back on its sheet. That alone is a great value right there. Usually you do not get a background stamp with your kits. And you also get the directions for the advent card project. If you want to make advent cards. Now you also get these little, it's like a 4x6 stamp set. And it has all these little Make-A-Wish, cutie pie, ha ho ho ho, be merry, warm hugs, I love you, cold, hot, warm, cool, Xmas, and then all these little silhouettes that you can use to make fun little figurines and pictures and fun little cards. So very nice little kit. And this is your die that goes right over your background stamp to make the advent calendar. And as you see, so let me put this the right way, you see it goes over all the little balls and ornaments on this stamp. And it leaves the top open so there's a flap that holds it so it doesn't cut it out completely. And it has little embossed cutout stars and sparkles that come also as you cut it. So a very fun little thing to make an advent card, and we will make an advent card in this video, so stay tuned for that. Each of these little figures fit in these little holes somewhat. You can Mickey Mouse and put a sentiment in there. You can put, a little figure in it, whatever you want to do. It's kind of fun, like a little pop-up card. And you also have the numbers, so you can put numbers on your ornaments for the advent thing. So, like I said, a small kit this month because you only get 5 items versus a big stamp set, dies, and all kinds of added extras. But the background stamp and this die set together and all this, you never get together. So still a very great value. I mean, if you put these two together, it probably measures to what your regular stamp set is. But yeah, it's nice to have a background stamp. This time I thought it was really fun. A lot of times we have to buy it as an add-on. This time it's included with our little polymer stamp, so it's really fun. So there's all your little things all together. 5 items, make some fun little pop-up advent cards and all kinds of little extras. These are so much fun. I love these. And then this background stamp. I think it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna play around making some advent cards with you. So for our first card, I am gonna use the background cling in its entirety. I'm not taking out the little extras yet. And I'm just going to stamp it down. I am going to try to make kind of a retro vintage, double layered, double embossed card. And what I mean by that is we're going to start with one color, and then it will be slightly over, and I'm going to go in with this second color. You know, when you get those kind of vintage looking things and they kind of overlap, I want to get that look with it. So I'm going to go in first with the gold green. And a little thing I want to say about this gold green, it is very light. So particles of it, if you go on top, will fly off. If you don't mind that some of it's going to be flying off and it gets that kind of almost distressed look, you can do it from the top. Now, if you want a thicker thing, I will show you a trick later. From what I found in the past with some of these kind of embossing patterns that are very light, there is a way to use them so that your particles don't blow off. And I will show you that in a minute. So let me get this set, put my gold layer on top of that green layer, which is a very beautiful green. And the whole point is it to be a little off. So don't worry about making it perfectly on top of it. For this kind of look, you kind of want it to overlap and kind of go over so that you get that retro kind of look. For the first layer, I didn't worry about whether green particles fell off because I knew I was going over with that second layer, so it was fine. So I'm going to trim this panel down. I made it a little bigger because I wanted it to be able to be trimmed. That way I didn't go over with the stamp onto my Precision Press Advanced and have it going where I didn't want it. So I figured it'd be easier to trim it than to have it going too far over the paper. So I'm going to put that aside. Now I'm going to cut some polka dot vellum, and I'm going to take out my cottage cut stitched circle dies, and I come in 2 different sizes so that way I can cut a vellum layer to go underneath, and then I'm going to cut a white layer, and I'm also going to cut myself a quick little green layer and put that aside. Now here's where we're going to show you what happens, what you need to do with the green. Sorry for the jiggle here. I am going to start with my little ornament from the center. And I was going to do them together, and then I decided, nope, let's do them separate. I'm going to do the first one in the gold in the center. I lost my stamp out there, so I had to do it again. I had done one prior when I was testing out the embossing patterns, and I found the gold stuck beautifully to my embossing pad ink. And then I did the green and it flew everywhere. So that's how I knew this was going to be a tricky embossing pattern to use, the green gold, because it flew away. The particles flew away, and that's not what we wanted it to do. So I heat emboss the gold, and as you see, it comes out beautiful and shiny, just like the silver that they usually add in the kits. Now, for the green, the trick is going to be to heat it differently. Since you don't want to heat from the top, you're going to layer your heat embossing powder on there, which I'm going to do. It comes in very beautifully. And then you're going to go, oops, let me get another layer. Not from the top, but from the bottom. And I'm going to bring it out to show you what I'm doing. I already got heat set, but you're going to go from the bottom. That way your particles don't blow away, but it sets and it gets really, really pretty and glossy. So there's a trick for that. So if you're having the same issue as you're building and you go, why is my embossing powder flying away on me with my heat gun? Do the reverse. Heat it from underneath. It doesn't hurt anything. In fact, they say sometimes it's better to heat from underneath because you less apt to burn your paper in the front. So also a little trick for anybody who wants to use it that way. So once again, we're going to do the second little ornament in the green. Make sure I get a good layer of it. And now I'm going to show you. I'm going to try to put this in frame for you guys. Hopefully I can get this in here. It's a little awkward sometimes. But I'm going to heat from underneath and let it set. And then if you want to heat from on top too, just to make sure it's set really well, you can because it's already melted down. And there we go. We got my 3 little ornaments. And I have a clear really crisp image of that green. I don't know what it is with the formulation of that green gold, but it was flying away on me, and that's not what we wanted to do. So I'm going to take the Be Merry from the stamp kit, and I'm going to put some Cottage Ivy on it from Memento, and I'm going to put that right underneath that gold ornament, centered in the circle. And of course, I'm going to put that right over that little vellum piece. So, like I've always told you with vellum, it's always good to hide your adhesive. Let me cap all my goodies here first before we start constructing this. And I'm going to put this on a white pearl card form, just because I wanted to give it a little bit more sparkle. So I'm going to adhere my circle on top of my vellum. And then I'm going to get my little circle that I die cut out with the same circle that is on the top. And now I can go underneath that circle and stick it right to it, and it will not be too visible on there. And I did decide to do a green just in case the edges did show underneath the vellum. That way we didn't have any issues of color. And a little bit does show underneath there, which is fine because it has that green. And there is that. Now I was going to put some more foam underneath, and I decided, nope, I think I'm going to directly adhere it to this card form this time. So I'm going to put a bunch of adhesive on the back of this, and I'm going to stick it right on there. Very simple card, but yet very, very pretty, because you got all that beautiful sparkle to it. Now, one thing I did was bummed is I wish they had made the stuff a little bit longer, because the standard card usually is 6 and it's 5.5. So I felt like it didn't balance it right. So I've been trimming them down, which is fine. I have some beautiful gold card envelopes that I can use with these. They're a little bit smaller than a standard size, so they'd be fine. So now I'm going to come in and embellish this. Sorry for my crooked camera here. Apparently my glass mat shifted here. But we're going to adhere a bunch of these beautiful rainbow Aurora Borealis pearls to this. I have it in a rainbow mix in both 3mm and 4 on the site. And I'm picking out any greens and golds that I have in the kit. Icy greens, forest greens, hunter greens, whatever I have in there. And a few little gold ones. And just layering them out and trying to balance it. Just to give it some more little dimension. And there you go, isn't that a cute card? I'm going to leave it blank inside just because it's a fun card by itself. Now for the second card, we are going to be making an advent card. So you do notice I left the little ornaments out this time because I'm going to do them in a different color. So the first color is going to be, once again, the gold. So once I get this all layered up with my embossing pad, coat it up. Oh, and I'm going to get the top here because I was hitting the pegs and I couldn't get a really good coat. So I'm just going to go over it freehand a little bit. Sorry for being a little off camera. And I'm going to start with that. And then we're going to add our layer of gold on there. So right away, I've shown you using the gold and the green embossing powder, using the background stamp with all its contents or minus its contents to make a fun background. Now I'm going to show you my trick for using it for the Advent cards. Because it can be a little tricky, especially when you do put your little things inside. And I'm going to show you my little trick that I figured out just from trial and error. Trying to stamp underneath it was hard, and making sure I was under where I need to go. So I made myself a little jig, and I want to show you what I do just so I know where I'm stamping. But first, we're going to do this, heat set this and get it all pretty. Let's make it pretty. Sorry, this is getting a little out of focus. My camera has a hard time focusing when I use my heat gun close to it. It's like, what do I do? Focus on the heat gun or focus on the panel underneath? So you're going to get out of focus a few times. Sorry about that. That's a hard thing about heat setting in front of the camera. Sometimes it puts me out of focus. But look at that beautiful gold. Isn't that pretty? It does sparkle a lot. I don't think you get to see it in the first card. It's got that same metallicness as their silver that they usually add in the kit. So if you ever use their silver, it still has the stuff. So here we're going to go back in the green. I'm going to shake it up because there's little gold particles in it. And you want to make sure you get them nice and evenly distributed. So I'm going to lay this back out where it was before. Now, to make sure if you want to do this like this, you're going to have to pop your stuff in first. That way you know you're lined up where your little ornaments need to be. And then you're going to push down on those ornaments as you pull up. That way you don't lose them or they dislodge. And there. Now I can do my second layer in the green. That fits in perfectly where they're supposed to go. In the little blank spots. And now we're going to do our green gold. Isn't that pretty? Just want to show you a little bit closer up. That there is little gold specks in there. And I'm just going to go through that. And we're going to heat set that again. And there we go. So there is our little panel. This time I didn't go as crazy trying to go overlap a little bit because I'm going to frame this with the die frame and it's going to have a cutout where it's going to fit perfectly anyway. Now I was going to use red and green and I decided I'm just going to go with the fired brick because we have a lot of green in there already. So let's make sure we get a little contrast. Now I'm just going to blend the red in there. I'm not going to ombre it like I've seen some people do, at least not on this card. I was trying to make some simple ones for us to begin with, and we'll have some more fun with more complicated ones in the next video, because I always like to do the unbagging in the first video because show you what the contents are, then do some 3 little simple cards, and then have some more fun just card building in the next part of the series. That way we kind of don't lose track of time or go over too much. Alright, so I blended that, and it has this nice kind of vintage look to it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some water. For some reason my mister is not working. I'm going to just stick my hand in some water, and I'm going to just flick. We'll do the good old flick technique. I think it's time for me to buy a new mister. I've used these for years. I'm not surprised that they're not working anymore. I'm going to take my towel now that I flick some water on it and just dab up the water. Clean up my surface. I use a lot of old dish towels. Try to save on using nice disposable towels if I can. It's easier just to throw them in my washer. And now I'm going to line up my die with the ornaments as close as I can. I'm going to run this through my Cricut. What's nice about it is you get these beautiful little doors. And I just want to make sure all the doors came through. And they did, because sometimes I get some areas that don't go through as well sometimes on my paper, and I just want to make sure they all came through. And they did. Look at those little doors. Aren't they sweet? It's like the little pop-up books we had when kids, and you can look underneath and see what was underneath the flaps. In this one, I'm just going to do a basic one just showing you how to set it up. And the next one, I probably will do a numbered one without the stamp. That way, we can show different ways to use the die, either with the background stamp or without. And maybe some fun shaker cards too. We'll see. There is a lot of fun you can have with this kit. You're not stuck to a basic thing. So I'm going to cut a couple panels of white paper. And the reason I'm going to do this is one is going to be my background panel, and one is going to be my guide for where to put my little figures. So one of them I'm going to die cut, and one I'm going to leave blank. And sorry that my frame is stuck here, so I'm just die cutting that out. Okay. So the reason I did this is because to line my little pictures in and know that I'm in the right spot, I need something to guide me. So I'm going to snip out, I'm sorry, this is going to take a little while, all these little ornaments quickly, and they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be right on the ornament line. I just want enough of that ornament open that I can see how much space I have underneath that ornament. Because that way I know I'm putting my little figurines right where I need and I don't have to worry about it. Now, nice thing too is you can keep this with your kit, and whenever you use that die, you'll have this already made. And it doesn't matter how many times you use it, how dirty it gets, how inky, it's not anything anybody's going to see other than you. But it's a great little guide for that die to make sure that you're putting your images and your things or your sentiments in the right spot underneath that ornament. So I'm going to go on top of this paper, and then I'm going to put some washi tape on there. And then I'm going to put some more washi tape on the top too, just to hold down the top. And then I'm going to get my precision press, and I'm going to line this baby up. And then I'm going to start picking some little figures from this kit and put them in the little holes in different little colors, in red, greens, golds, and blues, and browns, and just make these little figures good. So I figured the last one we probably want Santa's picture in there because he is a big man of the show and he will be here at the last part of your advent calendar. So I'm going to get him on there, get my little alignment block, get him put on with some rhubarb stock. There we go. And then put him right in the middle. And you see, now I know he's going to be perfectly in the center of the ornament, or as good as he's going to be in the ornament. So I'm going to do a couple layers of that. Then I'm going to pick up my next figure. I think I'm going to go for I have to make sure I find something that's the right size, because you don't want to go over and you don't want to go under. I'm going to go with the gingerbread man. Why not? Cookies are the thing you make the night before for Santa, right? So this one I'm doing rich cocoa because gingerbread cookies are brown. So you could do whatever color you want. If you want to make them black underneath, you can make them black. Silver, if you wanted to emboss these, oh my gosh, that'd be pretty too. So many possibilities. Sorry for my head getting in the way. I'm not going to show you all of these that I put in because it could take me a while to put all these in. But I'm going to show you the first lower layer. This one I think I'm doing a little piece of candy. And I'm going to do that in cottage ivy, I believe, just to give us a little bit of green in this. Because, like I said, filling each of these little holes is going to take a while. And pretty much after you see me do the first 4, it's pretty much the same throughout. But like I said, you could do sentiments inside it. You can mix it with pictures and sentiments. I chose to just do pictures for this first card because I thought it'd be fun to have a little picture underneath. And you're just going to end up having to find pictures that fit in the holes and just go with it. Have fun with your colors. Do it with simple colors if you want to. Oop, this one I'm doing cocoa. But just have fun with it. Some people put their numbers under it. Some people put little sentiments I've seen. But they're really fun. So here's my finished project. And see, I can pull this off now. And now I will know that underneath each of these little ornaments is going to be a perfect little figure that they can pop up and see. So I'm going to adhere this. Now I was going to try doing this with my tape runner, but I think these areas are going to be a little too small. So I'm going to take out my Nuvo Precision Glue pen, and I'm just going to go around it because I don't want, let me get a little bit more there. I don't want it to get in on the little flaps. So as much as I can, try to stay away from the flaps, and I don't think I could get as precise with my tape runner, so that's why I'm not doing that. And it doesn't have to be on every little tiny corner, as much as you can get around the edges and stuff so that it doesn't flap up, and a little bit in the center. And then I'm going to open up one flap. That way I have something to see and try to line it up. And there we go. Now I'm going to push it down. And to make sure it adheres well, oop, I found a little spot I missed. I'm just going with my pen a little bit more. I'm going to put my precision press on top of it and just let it glue. Alright, so now that we're dry, I'm going to trim down my paper. Like I said, it's always better to have excess paper than too little. So I did make this paper extra long and big so I can trim it down after I was done. That way I knew for sure that I wasn't under the amount I needed. At least I can always trim it down. And there we go. I'm just going to check to make sure all my flaps, none of them stuck down, which is perfect. They're all good. They look perfect. Oh my goodness. This is so much fun. So I'm going to adhere this now to a piece of craft foam. Or actually, adhere some craft foam to this. And since it's a little smaller than my standard piece, I'm going to trim it down a little bit because this die is a little bit different sized than my panels I usually cut, so they're not the right size. And then I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of this because I'm not putting a sentiment on the front of this card. And like the first one, like I said, the die is a weird size, so it doesn't really fit on a standard A6 card form. So I'm going to use my paper trimmer again, trim it down as straight as I can. And that's what I like about this paper trimmer. There's a wire guide, so I know I'm great where I am on this card. And there that is. Isn't that cute? I was going to put little embellishments on the top, but I think with all the glittering of the gold and the green gold, I don't need it. Plus the little pictures. Who needs all these embellishments? Look at them all. Look at them all flap up. Aren't they fun? So this is a fun little advent card project that you could do. Your kids would love it too. Making little cards for their friends for school. And it's not very hard to do. They could put little words in it. They could even handwrite little messages in it if they wanted to. It'd be cute. So I'm going to put inside the Be Merry again. I know I used it twice in a row. One on the outside, one on the inside. And this time I think I'm going to do it in an ombre effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my rhubarb stock and my cottage ivy and make a kind of ombre color. That way it kind of blends in. And there you go. Isn't that fun? Oh my gosh, this card is so fun. I just love it. Alright, now for our last card, I'm going to once again use our background die. I know we've used it a lot, but it is the main focal point that you get in the kit. Usually our big 6x8 stamp set is, but in this case, this is your focal point. So I am going to do it sideways this time on a smaller sheet of paper. And instead, I'm going to do it one more time, just to make sure I got a good covering. And I'm leaving it open again, and this time instead of using the embossing powders that come with the kit, I am going to actually use my Snow Recollections embossing powder, which has a very nice glossy white sheen to it. So far you've seen it in a kind of green. You've seen it with a mixture of green and gold offsetting each other. Now I'm going to show you it in white and silver. So there's different ways to have fun with this. You know, you can use blending in the background. I've seen people do it with ombre. I've seen watercolor behind it, doing it on watercolor paper. There's so much fun you can have with this background stamp. I think in the next video too, I'm going to show you maybe how to do it with some manila tags. Because one thing about Christmas is we don't just make cards, we use tags a lot. So I really think this would be really fun for tags also. And later on I might pull this out again and show you how to make it with, I was thinking about showing people how to make some homemade wrapping paper too, so that might come in a future video too. I'm working on the kinks of that. And this would be a fun one to do that with too, because it's a big square and you can do it multiple times. All right, so I've done the white and I heat set it. And now I'm getting my Hero Arts silver. And once again, I'm laying out my thing, my little stamps inside, and then pulling it back so that I just have these cute little 3 ornaments sitting out by themselves. And I'm going to do it in the silver, because I did it in the gold and the green, and I wanted to show it in white and silver. All right, so now I got them on there. Now I'm going to heat set them also. Try to do this in frame for you. Like before I said, sometimes if I have it underneath it, it doesn't show right. But there we go. Isn't that cute? And look how they shine. Isn't that pretty? Now I wanted to make this card a little on the icier side. The other one I did kind of the Christmassy colors. This one I wanted to do a little bit more icier. So I am going to take out, I was going to do blue, shades of blue, in the Broken China in Faded Jeans. And I think I'm just going to end up doing it in Broken China, because I really love this color. To me, it's very icy. It's very crisp. And you see how those ornaments in the white just pop out? That was my method. I wanted the silver to be there, but I wanted the ornaments to just pop out in the background. And I'm just going to lightly blend this. I'm not worried about making it perfectly blended. If there's a little bit of white showing, there's a little bit of white showing. It's a fun little card. Make it wispy looking like the frozen ice outside. So I'm going to clean off my mat, and now I'm going to take out a white card form. And I'm going to trim down my panel to fit the card form. And then I'm going to trim some craft foam to go down the bottom of it. And I think I got it just right. So we're going to now put this foam on the back of my panel. And put some foam on the back of some tape on the back of the foam. And I'm just going to put it on the top half of this card and kind of go towards the edges. That way the bottom is kind of open for a sentiment and a little added extra. And I did notice that I missed a couple of the sides, so I'm just going to touch it up slightly and a little bit this top with my sponge dauber. Alright, so now I'm going to put it back on my precision press. We've discussed this before about how this press really does make a difference. And I'm putting warm wishes on the front. And I can do this now after I make the card. Warm hugs. That's what it was, not warm wishes, warm hugs. And I can put that on in there anytime. And that I'm doing in the Bahama Blue. Now I was going to stamp these on, and I decided I want to make them 3-dimensional. And I'm starting by making 3 of the ornaments in the same colors I made the ones on the background stamp. But we'll show you how I end up having to adapt it later. And sometimes you come up with an idea and you think, oh, this is perfect. And then you realize maybe I just didn't need all this. And I do that quite often. I think we all do it. We look at it after and we're like, I just did more work than I needed to do. But it's fine. It comes out beautiful either way. It's just sometimes you overthink it. So I put them in the silver embossing powder, just like I did them on the card. And I'm not too concerned. I did have one that kind of overlapped. But I'm going to fussy cut these out, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to come back in the same Broken China, just cover them up, fussy cut them out. Now, I'm going to come with my Scotch adhesive tape. I ran out of squares, and I haven't been able to get to Michael's lately, which is probably a good thing. If I go into Michael's, I won't be back out for a while. Luckily, I've been a little under the weather, so I've been kind of stuck inside. That's the reason why we didn't have a video last week. I did announce it on my Facebook page that due to illness that I was not going to be able to make a video. I could barely even speak without coughing, so it was not going to be good for videos. Though I am feeling a little better now. So Michael's might be in my near future. But so I was going to overlap these and kind of let them go over each other a little bit and make like a clump of ornaments, as you see me doing. I later found that maybe sometimes going simpler was a little better. So I did all this work and like I said, you overthink it and you go, wait a minute, what was I thinking? It happens to all of us. All right, so I'm going to take this one and put some more under there. Now we're just adhering them together. I was like, ugh, I don't like it. So I was going to put one on each side of the warm wishes, and then I realized, no, still, I'm overthinking it. Just leave that one alone. Sometimes, like I said, when you overthink things, you go, wait a minute, what was I thinking? Just leave it alone. But I am going to add some more of my rainbow Aurora Borealis pearls. And I'm going to pick the icy blue colors that I can find in the silver colors. That way it kind of goes with the card. So let me get my two-way glue. I love my Zig two-way glue for putting on gems. I haven't tried the Nuvo Precision yet. I'm sure curious to see how they worked too. It's just, this one's always been my go-to. Plus I like seeing my glue dots and where they are because it comes on blue and then it goes on clear later. And there we go. And I think that's all I need. I'm not going to go crazy with this one just like I did with the other one. So I do welcome you to join us on Instagram for Message Board Mondays, and you will win a prize if you join us there. So check out the details there, as well as our Facebook contest, where if you share your creations making with this month's kit, you will also win a $25 gift card to the store. So if you like this video, please check out the last uploaded video, as well as a video specially curated just for you. And like always, we invite you to like, subscribe, ring for notifications on our channel button, as well as check out our website for our newsletter with crafty sales and shop updates.